pop up here soon. Get that cleared off on these screens. And so this is the last live session. Tomorrow it will be a recording. I've already made the recording. It is set to go out. The message with a link to it shortly after 9 o'clock in the morning. So you'll be able to tap into that and see the message, get that assignment, and be able to go ahead and start that day and get that going. That way you'll have the full time up till 10 o'clock tomorrow to respond to that and to complete any assignments, any discussions, any projects, and that final exam before the class locks. Okay, I want to emphasize the class locks. I cannot unlock it, so I cannot give you an extension on anything beyond that 10 p.m. time, not 11:59, 10 p.m. Okay, I know it sounds like I'm repeating because, trust me, I have a lot of experience. I rode my dinosaur to work many, many a day, and 10:15, 10:30, I have people say, I can't get into these assignments. I don't know what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. It's simple. You didn't listen to any of the recordings. You didn't read the emails. You didn't read the text. You didn't look at the homepage. So once again, reiterating 10 p.m. tomorrow, the class locks. That's it. We have deadlines. We have to put in everybody's final grades. Then the class is cleared. Monday, whole new class comes in. You guys are on your merry way. You enjoy graduating, going into your next class, et cetera, et cetera. 65% or better is what it takes to pass the class. The campus deals with anybody who does not make it over that threshold. How they handle that is dependent on where you are in your courses. I don't make those decisions. I grade what you've completed. If you haven't completed something, obviously I can't grade that. I can't produce grades for assignments I haven't received. Right? Right. So let's get to getting and see what's going on. Um, Final projects are coming in. The ones I have seen, people have been doing incredible. I'm very proud of seeing those long-term goals, short-term goals put in, plus the additional information. So if you did good on last week's assignment where you did those short-term, long-term goals in part two of your project, part three should come at a much easier time than people who didn't. If you didn't put effort into part two, part three is becoming more difficult because you're going to be graded on the effort for part three. And this is a 20% part of your final grade. So hopefully you did very well on part two and you put that effort in. So you're going to include those long-term short goals and short-term goals in that part of it. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Do not play uh, final grade Jenga. And by that, I mean, don't try to balance what I should skip, don't skip. You shouldn't skip anything. You should be at the point where you know professionalism. Professionalism is doing everything at the highest quality you can. You don't have part time professional ethics. You don't have part-time professional anything. Professional is 100% all the time. You don't say you have good work ethics part-time. Doesn't work that way. You are always expected to be on brand, your brand, the brand you set your level at, that when they hear your name, they expect you to be at the level. Everybody has a personal brand, correct? Yes, yes. Right? Everybody has a personal brand. If I say Jacob's name, I say Dominique's name, I say Conroy's name, I say Melanie's name, Joel's name, anybody's name, people have an instant picture of what type of quality that person is. That is your brand. That is the same as Ferrari. That is the same as Godiva. That is the same as Nike, Adidas. That is the same as Lamborghini. When those names are called out, people have a perception of who you are. Now you have the opportunity to make that brand top shelf or Dollar Tree. Think about it. And that is based on perceptions on your work ethics, your promises that you make and keep, the work you do, and the work you don't do. You build that brand. You are that brand. And if you let that brand go down, it's harder to build it back up because people go, you know, and that brand will get to jobs sometimes faster than your application will because careers and career fields are smaller than you might think. You might want to work for company A, but what you don't realize is company A is owned by parent company and they own 20 companies. So you go to apply for company B or company Z and the parent company knows about you and your brand. So grow your brand, treat your brand with respect. All right? You've got the skills, you've got the tools, you've got the confidence. We're going to put it together because today we're going to be talking about that first day on the job, that day after you've used those tools, secure that job, and what happens once you're there. All right, everybody ready? We got to do this? Yes, yes. All right. So here we go. We're going to do some screen sharing. So here we are in week 4, the final week. So we are way down here in Wednesday, and you are looking at those results from that mock interview. Almost everybody did the mock interview, and those are incredible. You find out those little things that you may or may not have been doing. So many people did absolutely incredible. I'm glad to see it. You know what you're doing right, and those little tiny things that you can improve upon. If you didn't take advantage of this, you missed a great learning experience. Okay, that director Q&A, this is great. Again, you ask the right questions of the people that are in the power positions. And so this was another great learning experience, turning the tables, interviewing people, because this is also another networking technique, meeting people in authority position so you find out how they interview, what they are looking for. This is how you get the inside scoop so that you are better suited for that next interview. There's a reason why we pick the assignments we do. All right. So then that career plan, finishing that up, we're going to look at this real quick because I went over it. Again, there is a template in here. If you can't download it, recreate these same items. What were your goals, your long-term goals? Boom. Define your personal skill set. This can come straight off your resume. Your skill set is there. What skills do you have that are transferable to an alternative career? These are your soft skills. You may want to grow into another field. This is not uncommon. Most people switch major careers 4 times in their life. Okay. There's nothing wrong with you. If you may decide this isn't exactly what I want, but a relatable career, what are your transferable skills? What entry level position salaries do you are out there? Do you know how much you should be paid? How many people know what your salary should be when you're offered a job? How many? 1, 2, 3. So when you're applying for a job, you don't know if they're giving you a low ball figure. You need to know this. You need to know how much you should ask. Those government websites that I showed you about, Glassdoor, they will tell you what you should be asking for. Otherwise, you could be ripped off. Once you're in the position, it's too late. You can't say, wait a minute, I agreed to too little money. So you need to know what those salaries should be. Don't just ask somebody, hey, how much should I make? Yeah, don't ask your friend. That's not the way to do it. They could have made a bad deal. They didn't check things out. Find out for yourself. Do your research. Quit relying on the person next to you. They don't have your best interest, okay? You need to stand on your feet. You are the professional. You need to be responsible. You drive your career. The other person doesn't pay your bills. When was the last time you saw them writing checks out for your bills? Zilch. Okay. So, what salaries are you looking at? Okay. List certifications, any company training. So many companies offer training free of charge. But what's one of the big things? Am I going to get paid more for this? So people turn it down. Yeah, usually the answer is no, you're not going to get paid for it now. But what happens 6 months down the road when you get your evaluation? Oh, you have more training. But they're going to stop offering training to you if you keep turning it down. And then another person comes along and they take the training and they take the next training and they move up. And what do you find? You're the person that's been there 20 years in the same position. You don't move up. That new person who came in is now your supervisor. Take control of your career. Training and learning new things may not always be immediate money or immediate satisfaction, but think of the big picture. Plan ahead. This is how you grow. Okay. So think about that there. What opportunities can you take advantage of? Think about that lattice work that we went over. You might not be able to move up, but you might be able to move sideways, not only into another department, but you'll gain other knowledge and possibly more advantage. So think about those things. And that action plan down at the bottom, this is where you put those short term goals that you had from last week. So at first, it seems like this would be very complicated, but you have the answers. Okay. You've been given them and you've given them already in the course. You've done the work. Now you're just going to list it out. If you've done the work in the class, you've got this set. If you didn't do those other assignments, now it becomes more of a bother. Your final exam, once you start this final exam, you must finish it. Okay. If you try to get out of it, your exam is done. If you only went in to take a look and you looked at 2 questions and you get out, the rest of your answers are 0. Okay. You can't go in and take a look around. Okay. This isn't, shopping. This isn't that type of thing. Okay. You have one attempt. There's no time limit. You can take your time. It works the same way the midterm is. I can tell you, overwhelming. Y'all did incredible on the midterm. Already, the final exam, the grades are even higher. Isn't that great? Give everybody who's already done the final exam a round of applause because they are doing even better. So that should be something that y'all are looking forward to because it is a much better opportunity for you to score higher. Those of you who took advantage of the uh, bonus points in week 3, you'll have 5 points added onto your score. I have to say, not a lot of people took advantage of that. No, it cannot be open for you to go back and pick up that 5 points. But those of you who did, it's 5 points added on to whatever your score was. All right. Now, I did mention this pretty heavily yesterday. I'm going to mention it again. Right here, this help button, go there. go to this final exam study guide, read it, download it, print it, get a tattoo of it. No, don't get a tattoo. Well, maybe a henna one. That won't last forever, but it's not pretty enough for a permanent tattoo. Here's the answers to the final exam. Yeah, you're going to have to look for them, but they are in here. Okay. So you can click download, download it to whatever device you have, pull it up on another device, open up another tab, have it ready to go, print it, whatever you need to do, but it's right there. Okay. Everybody good so far? We got this? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So let's talk about what we need to talk about here. Your first day on the job. I got my little pen here ready to go. Let me get my ink going. Draw my little smiley face. There we go. Sometimes I draw it. Reminds me of the little character off the Disturbed albums. Those of you that are a Disturbed music fan. Okay, we're going to talk about typical first day, performance evaluations, ways to be safe in the workplace, and updating your professional network. Because some people don't think about the first day on the job. Okay. It can be overwhelming and exciting. How many people hate first days on the job? I know I'm not a fan of my first day. Yeah. Nerve wracking. Okay. I'll give you a hint. First day, make sure you know where the bathroom is before you need it. May sound stupid, but when you need to go, there might not be anybody to ask. So find out beforehand. It can be an uncomfortable situation. The other thing is know how to use the phones if you're like in an office situation. How many MAs are out there or vet assistants? Any MAs or vet assistants? Okay, make sure they show you how to use the phone because I guarantee you, as soon as somebody walks away, the phones will go crazy. It happened to me before in St. Louis. I'll never forget it. Person walked away, 9 phone lines. I remember this. And this happened in the 80s. 9 phone lines lit up all at once. And I did not know what to do. So I just went down the line, put everybody on hold, and I ran and grabbed somebody because I didn't know what to do with them once I had them on hold. 9 blinking lines. Scared the tar out of me. All right. So think about things before people walk away. Okay. So you're going to get to meet everybody. And the thing about that first day is you have to learn everybody. They only have to learn one person and know they're going to talk about you. Not in a bad way, but they're going to try to figure you out. Okay. But before you go there, right here, before, do you need a badge? Do you need a security go? Where do you enter? Because you went in one place for the interview. Is that where you go for your first day? Is there a separate entrance? So, which building entrance do you use? Where do you park? Do you need a parking pass? And how do you dress? Okay, this is important. Do you have to have work boots, work shoes, steel toed? Do you have to have non slip? All these things. Make sure you ask because how many of us are shy out there? Any shy people? Yeah, make sure you ask these things because you need to know them. So if you're afraid you're not going to remember to ask, write these questions down before and call. Okay. So make sure you know these things because we want you to be prepared. So now these things are very important. These are on the final exam. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, final exam, and you need to know them just in general. Okay, so the I-9 form, this is not a highway with bad traffic. I-9, okay, it is your employee identification, okay? And make sure you can work in the US, okay? Make sure you can work in the US, okay? Everybody has to fill them out. Make sure you're legal to work here. Okay, it doesn't say you're a legal citizen, it means you're legal to work here. It must be completed and signed in the presence of human resources. Okay, so this one here, human resources. Now, this is what happens. I guarantee you, people are going to Google this and they're going to say that you have to do this within 3 days. This has nothing to do with 3 days, okay? You must sign this in the presence of human resources or a representative from human resources, okay? If you check the thing or you write in, you must fill this out within 3 days, you're going to get it wrong, okay? You must sign this in the presence of a representative from human resources. They have to see you complete it and sign it, okay? Now, your W-4, this is your taxes, okay? This is how much they use to determine your withholding, okay? And the deductions are based on marital status and your dependents, okay? Marital status and your dependents. Not necessarily children, but it can be a spouse, your children, grandparents that you are obligated to take care of. That is what is here. And people tell you, oh, put in a 0 or a 1 or this or that. Fill out the form. Tax laws change, and you could be liable for having to pay more taxes at the end of the year, etc. Now, some people say, do this and you'll get a big refund, give you a financial hit. The government is not the best bank to put your money in as far as a financial return. Your best bet is to get next to nothing back as a refund. Okay. Take that extra money that they would be holding, put it in a savings account. You will get interest on it. The government, the only thing they're interested in is taking your money. Okay. So your best bet is to pay in and get very little back. Instead, take that extra money, put it in an interest bearing account. Okay. Now, the other thing is benefit forms. You may or may not have to fill out benefit forms on that day one. Some of these forms you may fill out, some may have to wait until after you've been there a while, including insurance forms, etc. Okay? Make sure you are on time. Plan this out. There's nothing worse than your first day being late. Make sure you're enthusiastic. Smile. Be pleasant when you talk to them. Don't be grumpy cat. Nobody likes that. I know you're going to be stressed. Be pleasant. These are your new coworkers. Be positive and excited to be there. Okay. Let them know that you're enthusiastic. You want to be there. You're excited to add to it. But don't forget to ask for help when you're needed. One thing, too, don't be the person who is, well, where I worked, we did this. Well, I worked, we did this. We did this. We did. Anybody have one of these people start with you and all they did was talk about where they used to work? They did this. And all you could think of was go back there. If it was so great there, why don't you go back there? Anybody work with one of these people? You just wanted to put them on on an Uber and send them back to their old job. If it was so great there, just go back. Don't be that person. Understand that you might be doing a similar job to where you were, but they might do it different. Be willing to offer other techniques, but do it in a way that's creative and offers an alternative, not tell them they're doing everything wrong. Okay? Now, if you have to work remote, may that be they want you to do some things at home, etc. Make sure you have a dedicated workspace. Create a work environment that you can work in. Okay? You'll have to attend onboarding sessions, and that's how you are brought on, also known as training sessions, etc. They teach you how to do what they need you to do for the company. Make sure you have a routine. If you're working remote, people think, oh, you can do whatever you want whenever you want. Not true. You have to be dedicated to that company, even when you're working remote. Make sure you know how to communicate phone, video, writing, etc. And make sure you take care of physical and mental health. Working remote, people who are going to be working in vans and things like that, work vehicles and that, people think, oh, this is great. You don't have a boss and this and that. Make sure you take care of your physical and mental health. Sometimes being separated from people and working by yourself, it takes a toll mentally. You need to make sure you adjust to being with people and without people. Physically, if you're out on the job in the heat, in the environment, rainy weather, etc., under houses, in attics, things like this, take care of yourself physically and mentally. If you're in the vet programs, make sure you're watching for your safety. You don't realize the strength of a cat that may not be feeling good, or a small animal that, oh, it's cute until it's not, and you have it attached to part of your body by its claws or its teeth. You can physically cause harm to yourself or others. So always be careful. How many people like training classes? All those videos when you start. Does anybody like those? I don't. Yeah, you may have a bunch of them. And so, and I always like how everybody's so enthusiastic. Hey, Jane, aren't you thrilled to be here? Yeah. Wonder where they get all those robots. Okay, so you may have training. It may be part of a group, it may be one person, it could be one on one. Okay, understand it's part of a new job. You're going to have to be trained, even though you just went through a bunch of schooling. You have the technical aspects of it, but you're going to have to learn their way. Okay, make sure that you pay attention to what they want you to do. Some of it could be safety related, could be quality control. Pay attention and ask questions if you don't understand. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you, you don't get it. But, excuse me, but it's better that you ask than do it incorrectly. Okay. You may take a tour of the entire facility so you can understand how your part fits into the whole picture. Okay. This is their way of showing you everything about their brand. You have a brand, they have one too. It also shows their mission, their values, their practices. They need you to keep their brand safe. They need to show this is our quality. You need to keep it up as well. Okay, so here's some questions that are in the book for all employees. What hours? What do I do? Who do I call in an emergency? Understand that you could have an emergency at home. Who do I call? And don't say Ghostbusters, okay? I know y'all were thinking that, weren't you? And but who do you call? If you need to call off, things like that. On-site employees. What hours is the building open? If you get there early, can you get in? How do you use the telephone? What are the policies for lunch and breaks? Is there a break room or do you have to go off-site or can you go off-site? These are things to know, okay, et cetera, et cetera. You check this out in the book. Use reasonable thoughts on that. Your professional network. Constantly think about this. As you meet people, talk to them. Get used to getting information from them and sharing yours. Update your networking accounts. Let them know you have a new job. You might meet people who used to work there that might give you even more information, such as how to get ahead at that company. Let them know your new employment status. I've started working. Okay. This is how you grow. I know you're thinking, I don't need to let people know. Yes, you do. You want your career to go this direction. Do these things. You cannot believe the difference between somebody who does these things and somebody who doesn't. Okay. You want to drive a 20-year-old Taurus that is on all spare tires, or do you want to drive the latest and greatest, Camaro or Mustang or Porsche? Choice is yours. Remember, you're the one that's driving this. Performance evaluation. I want you to pay attention to this because people get a lot of questions wrong on what a performance evaluation. It's designed to evaluate your work and offer productive feedback. People have evaluated these things or related it that an evaluation is just to get a raise. An evaluation does not equal a raise. People assume that an evaluation equals a raise, and that is not true. It is designed to give feedback. Please stop thinking that it's always equal to a raise. You're going to be greatly disappointed. Some companies do evaluations at one point and they do raises or pay increases at another. And if you go in and you get an evaluation and no raise and you're disappointed and it affects your work, then when evaluation or when raises come around, it could affect that. So please learn to separate them. If they happen to come at the same time, great. Okay. So understand they could be two separate things, and more companies are using them as two separate things. The reason why is they are trying to evaluate current marketplace to see where they should pay you and inflation. So you may get more money in a separate raise than if they did it strictly on your performance. So that's why some places are doing it both ways. And the evaluation, it looks at your performance, the way you executed them. But another thing that people don't realize, it looks at this, your interaction with other employees. Not just, oh, I got along okay with them, but how well did you work with them? You did your job, but you didn't work with other employees. You kept to yourself. Keeping to yourself is not being part of the team. And that can come back and that can bite you. Okay. Now, let's talk about etiquette. We talked about it on the net and netiquette, but workplace etiquette, there's good manners while you're working. How many people know these folks that walk around with their cell phone out in front of their mouth and use it like they're doing karaoke and they're talking out loud into it. You know, the folks, they like to do this, especially in restaurants, waiting areas, any place that is like 3 feet in front of you and they have to shout into their phone, like you care about their conversations. Typically, when I encounter these people, I talk about everything on my body that itches and has something gross happening to it so their microphone picks up. I believe in sharing and caring when somebody is very rude like this. So keep your voice low when on a phone. Use headphones, etc. Okay? Now, some places don't allow you to use your phone or headphones of that. It's dangerous. Okay? Just like welding, uh, electrical work, veterinary work, jewelry, etc., is not advisable. Okay, I work with a vulture named Gypsy, and some people like to wear earrings. Not advisable when you're working with a vulture because vultures like shiny objects, and Gypsy will remove anything shiny off your body, and she does it with a nice ripping motion. So when somebody tells you you shouldn't be using something for safety, listen. So if they tell you that you can't listen to your phone, etc., you can't. Toyota and Honda and many other car companies, you can't take your phones in. They give you a phone, it'll be a rubber one with pre programmed phone numbers in it that you have to give them. They don't have cameras because they don't want you to show anything inside the factory where they're manufacturing things. Also, they use rubber phones so you can't damage the automobiles during the manufacturing process. So there's limitations to what you're allowed to do. Silence those phones, those digital devices. We don't need to hear about your calls coming in. Keep your space clean and organized. Okay, be a pig at home, not at work. Any personal items, keep them put away. We don't need to see it. Food, beverages you may or may not be able to have, keep them put away, especially in uh, places where you're working with medical situation. It's just not advisable. Okay, workplace safety. Okay, they typically fall into falling hazards, lifting hazards, and material storage. These are the most common ones. Okay, now we're going to talk about these because the most common workplace accident are falls. Okay, closed drawers. Don't leave doors open. People walk around, they trip over the drawers. It's funny on television, not in real life. Okay, watch Fail Army if you want to see these things. Don't do it in real life. Okay, you don't need to see that happen. Don't stand on a chair or a box to reach an object. Use ladders, secure cords, rugs, mats, and keep everything clear. Okay. Back injuries. Okay. Improper lifting. Everyone knows by now it's not news. Bend at the knees. Lift with the legs, not with the back. Never carry objects in front of your eyes, where you're wandering around, you can't see what's going on. Again, it's funny on television, it's not in real life. And make several small trips. Use a cart. You're not impressing anyone with your strength. You're not the rock. No one's going to confuse you for him. Do the right thing. Okay, now material storage hazards. Not only is this like chemical storage, do not mix, you know, uh, bleach and ammonia, things like that, but material storage is things like stacking things on top of shelves, way high up, heavy objects on top of lighter objects, creating falling situations of items. Okay, be very careful with those things. That's what we're talking about, material storage hazards. Do not block hallways with things, stuff like that. Okay. Now, this is what we call ergonomics. With the ergonomics, these are putting things in a way that make it safe for you. Notice here the eyes look straight across, kind of at the screen. You're sitting upright, your legs go across, etc. This is proper. How many people are not sitting like this right now? I guarantee you, I am one of them. Yeah. eh, I tell you, I have such bad posture. If I keep going, I am going to end up like the letter O. I'm just going to keep on going right on over. But this is what we call ergonomics. This is what employers try to achieve when you see some of these setups. What you shouldn't be doing is looking down at your screen, which is what a lot of us do because we have laptops. You should be raising it. Okay, so that is what we're talking about. Wrist rest for keyboards, specially designed chairs, back supports. Okay, that is a big one. Back supports to help out. So when we're talking about ergonomics, those are things that we are talking about. Okay, making sure that you have the proper equipment to keep your body physically safe. All right, everybody good with this? Yes, yes. All right. So these are things that will and can possibly be even more on that first day. It can be a bit overwhelming. Tonight, I want you to think about your biggest first day anxiety. What do you dread the most on that first day? It can be big, it can be small, but it is yours. What do you not like on that first day? All right. So, what is it about that first day? That is your question for tonight. Get that in by 10 p.m., please. All right. I like to give out those 100 pointers. And so that is what we have there. All right. So that is your question for tonight. And I want to tell you because it will be a recording tomorrow that you have really done incredible. And I'm proud of you, and I really want you to succeed in your careers. And I know you won't do everything that we've gone across in this class, but you're going to roll a lot of these ideas out just kind of naturally, and it will become a process. And you do have control. You have the right in an interview, if it's not going well, or you decide that's not for you, to stop the interview and say, this is not for me. I thank you for your time, and leave. Never feel trapped in an interview, in a position, in a job. You have control. You are incredible. You are unique. You have skills that no one else has. I want you to have that confidence, and I want you to believe in yourself. I know at times I can come across really harsh and other times not so harsh, but understand that life and your career is going to be that way. It's going to have its ups, it's going to have its downs, it's going to be harder, it's going to be easier, but you will always succeed if you stay true to yourself, stay true to your course, look at those goals and keep working your way to them. Never lose sight of those and keep working that way. Always be honest. Always own up to any mistakes that you do and learn from them, grow from them. They can be painful and uncomfortable, But as long as you own them, you will overcome them. You can do this. I know you can. And I will always say, believe in yourself the way I believe in you. All right. And that is it for tonight. And so I want you to go forth and I want you to kick butt. All right. And that's it for tonight. Give yourselves all a hand. So thank you.